Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Well, we're so glad you could join us for today's session in our Striving and Surviving webinar series. I'm AFDO Communications Director Jason Brill, and this series was created with you in mind, regulatory professionals navigating budget cuts, uncertainty, and all the challenges that come with it. Many of us are being asked to do more with less, stretch resources further than ever, and adapt to constant change and uncertainty. That's why we launched this series, to give you practical strategies, expert insights, real solutions, and the knowledge that you're not alone. Throughout this series, we've tackled key challenges like managing your department effectively with a reduced budget, finding process improvements to boost efficiency, building resilience when everything feels unpredictable, and leading your team through times of change. Today's session, Doing More with Less, How to Streamline Your Operation When Funding is Cut, will explore the ways that tight budgets don't have to mean reduced effectiveness. In this webinar, we'll introduce tools to identify inefficiencies, streamline operations, and maintain performance despite funding cuts. You'll learn how to align processes with your program's goals, enhance efficiency, and stay focused. Leading our session today is AFDO's Assistant Program Director, Steve Moris. Just so you know, we are recording this session, so keep an eye out for an email in the next few days with the recording. And if you missed any of our previous sessions, you can head to our YouTube channel to watch the recordings. You should see the YouTube link in our chat. Also, now's a great time to encourage everyone to consider an AFDO membership. AFDO can't do the work we do, such as these webinars, without the continued support of our members. An AFDO membership provides access to resources, training, and opportunities to engage with peers working on similar issues. It also offers you the chance to be part of a network where everyone learns from each other and contributes to meaningful progress. You can find more by clicking on the link we just shared in the chat. And okay, that's enough of me. So let's dive in. Steve, I am kicking things over to you.
All right, thank you very much, Jason. So if we can go to the next slide, please. I want to thank everyone for actually joining us today. I want to give you a little bit of background about the tools we're going to be talking about today. Like AFDO created a course couple years ago that is for process improvement, and this course is a 4-day in-person course to where like in the actual people taking the course learn to actually lead a discussion on process improvement inside of a jurisdiction or a business. But with these budget cuts that were announced, Capital thought it would be a good idea to actually share a few of these tools that are taught in the full course. And hopefully these tools can help you find cuts to just your processes instead of having to actually cut staff. In my days as a program manager of the food program in the state of Kansas, I had to deal with regular budget cuts on a yearly basis, but in those were 5 or 10 per cent a year. Well, now if you are facing cuts that are between 40, 50, even higher of a cut on your cooperative agreements. And in the past we would just look at cutting travel or not funding a actual vacant spot on on our staff. But like in these cuts, we have to look deeper. We have to look at we have to look at our full program, our full like array of the operations. So we want to give you a different look at like what all needs to be done while still focusing on like your core mission. Next slide, please. We will be like introducing you to tools that will help streamline and like your operation, which will help saving money and time. Again, here are the 8 tools that are taught during our full course. But during this webinar, we're going to be focusing on like identifying your customers and the activities performed by your organization that just that your customers value most. We will touch on some process mapping. And then like we will show you a tool to actually perform a value analysis on your existing processes. This tool helps identify the valuable steps in a process and the not so valuable steps, which will allow you to make improvements just by identifying waste and value while keeping the customer's value in mind. And finally, we will like also introduce a tool to actually prioritize activities. So like you can focus on those things with the highest impact and the least amount of effort. So like in B4, like we get started, I would like everyone to actually think about the actual like area of concern that that will be impacted by the budget cuts inside of your jurisdiction. And like if like you can put those inside of the chat. So are they funding cuts on your RT or on your produce or on the MIFRIPs, or is it all, or is like your actual concern staff layoffs or change or core mission? So if you can put those like actual concerns in chat, I'd appreciate it. We will need those for later. Waiting on people to put stuff in chat. Am I able to see everyone's chat? What are your concerns with these budget cuts inside of your jurisdiction? Ashley Rose, thank you. Layoffs. And the work hasn't changed, just like less staff doing more with less. Thank you. David, we are already thin and make it thinner. Long term, that is good. Further cuts, we actually don't know what's going to be coming down the line in the next year or 6 months. Yeah, Sherry, thank you. More to do with less time and resources. Like in the like outreach and the education. Exactly. So as is like we can see in chat, even though funding cuts like will be affecting all of you, it's not everyone has the same issue or impact. Like instead of focusing on a certain state, program, or issue, we want to actually use an example that like everyone knows of. So like instead of using the funding cuts of a produce program, we are going to be going through this process with the project of washing your car. The actual lessons you learn from these exercises will like easily be used to actually address any of your concerns inside your jurisdiction, especially funding cuts. Uh, like like we have found, it is much easier to actually teach these tools when like everyone understands the subject. Like our first tool is to actually know just to know like your customer. May I have the next slide, please? So it is time to actually identify um it's time to actually identify the customer value for washing your car project. Like always before starting a new project, program, or dealing with budget cuts, it's very important to like always keep your customer in mind, and also understand who are your customers. So like for our washing the car project, who is your customer? And if you want to put that in chat for me, who is your customer for actually on the project of washing your car? The car owner. Thank you, Natalie. And like about others? Are are there other car owner, or are there other customers for actual our project of washing our car? The car is a customer. The neighbors, hey, Mary, thank you. You know, and if like you live in a neighborhood and you want to actually just to actually keep up with the Joneses. The Joneses may be washing your car, or like your actual neighbors are a customer. It could be dealership, yeah. Like and maybe like you are going to be trading in your car. So thank you all very much. So like our are like your actual customers internal or external? Chris, thank you. Both. It could be both, because like you are, like we did mention that the actual customers are myself, or my neighbors. It could also be like actual internal, because like it could be your spouse or like your kids. Um, so good. Yeah, both is a really good answer. Okay, our next question is, what value are your customers paying you for, or like requesting you create? what value are like you are like you getting paid for? You can put your answers in chat for me. Don't want to have to call on people, but Philip, thank you. Your ego. So like in this, it could be the actual value is a clean car. It could be, yeah, a pretty car, a clean car, and of course, if you are taking care of your car and cleaning it, you know, during this winter, we have been a lot of snowstorms. That meant there was a lot of salt on the roads to where and that can also count as maintenance as well. So, all right. So like our final question under our customer value is what activity in like your process represents when like you delivered that value? What is the activity to show that we are done? More or less is what this is asking. When our customer is satisfied, that is great. Thank you, Chris. And it's when the car is clean. It is when like you have finished your job or like your process. Again, we are using this that way like everyone understands going through these tools that we are using washing your car instead of going into a program details. But like I mentioned before, these tools can be used for like any one of your concerns about budget cuts. Like you always want to actually think of your customer, and are those customers internal or external? So like during budget cuts, like your actual customer are the people that are being inspected or that are being affected by a funding cut. Like, and then, well, but then like it is also your staff because of possible changes of job duties or changes of inspection processes or like actually layoffs as well. Okay. So like in before like you start making changes, cuts, or layoffs due to actual reduce funding, we actually suggest you look at the full picture of your program or process by just by actually just by creating a process map. Next slide, please. This will help you and like your team understand exactly what it takes to actually perform the duty steps and jobs of like your project. So like during our 4-day in-person class, we would actually create a process map inside a class, but for the sake of time, we actually created one to share today. And so I want to walk through this process map and kind of show what all we have going on here. So during every process, every project, we always have a start. And like you always want to do, like you want to capture every step inside it of a project. So like in here, we're washing a car, but for let's say your actual produce, um, like your produce inspection program, you would want to create a process map that shows each step inside of your process, um, for actually either doing produce inspections or creating the actual paperwork necessary, or to actually work on the actual reporting paperwork. So always do a full process map. That way you can start understanding the full picture of like your program. And it's also very helpful to have like others help inside of your team to actually create this process map. Because as a program manager or a program lead, you may think you know everything about the project or the system, but having frontline supervisors or like even inspectors working with you to actually share to share like what is really happening during this whole process. So like when actually creating a process map, you want to go and keep a actual flow and just to actually keep things in order. So like here we are going to actually find a actual safe place to wash our car. We're going to actually gather our supplies. We're going to fill our bucket. We're going to actually pre-rinse and then wash the car and then rinse the car. And then like, we do want to ask, is the car clean? Well, like if not, we're gonna go back up and like we're gonna go over and probably we will wash the like whole car again, or like just the spots that are still dirty. But then once we are satisfied that the car is clean, we're gonna go ahead and dry off the car. We're gonna clean the tires, wax it. We're going to wipe down the interior. We're going to empty the trash. We're going to vacuum, and then we're going to clean the windows. That is now done. This is when our car is clean. This is when the project is done. So one thing I do want to, so during this process map, this would help you keep the focus on like activities, but like also understand the roles of the employees and the managers. So inside of your process map, just for a project or a process inside of your jurisdiction, you may want to actually assign roles to like just to like each one of these steps. Um, or or like you may have to actually expand on certain steps. If like it is a detailed step, you may want to create a sub process map. Are like there any questions so far? I don't want to just keep going and see if there's any questions. If so, will like you please raise your hand and like we can unmute you. Okay, I'm not seeing any questions. So like actually looking at the car washing process map and keeping our customer and the activities and their value in mind, we will now perform a value analysis. This involves going through the steps in the process and like to identify areas for improvement, streamlining, and also standardization. What do like you think we mean when we talk about value analysis? If like you could put that in chat or raise your hand and share with me. What do you think we mean when we talk about value analysis? Anyone have a thought? You want to guess? Measurement, whether something can be eliminated or like removed. Return on investment, great. Is it worth it? So great. Thank you, guys. I actually appreciate you putting that in chat. So like a actual value analysis, it will show the health of the process map. Like it is looking for the valuable steps in a process and the not so valuable steps in a process. Like it will show us where like we can make improvements and streamline activities. So like we will be assigning colors to like each step as we go through this process. The actual colors identify valuable steps, required and non-required waste. We will be using red, yellow, and green. As like we can see here, green steps are, or the actual green steps are the value we are bringing to our project or to our process. The yellow is the actual waste that is required. So like it is stuff that like has to be done. But if we're going through our process map and like we can make things red, if it is meaning that like those are steps we can be getting rid of, which will help us save time and money and also resources. So if we can go to our next slide. So like what I want to do here is I'm going to want input from everyone. We're going to go through these steps and actually decide is uh is 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 like each step on here a green, a yellow, or a red. And remember, the actual green is a value. The actual red is a non-required waste, and yellow is a actual required waste. So our first step is finding a safe place to wash the car. Is like that a red, yellow, or green? Sherry says green. So like, and let's put a green dot above finding a safe place to wash the car. All right, gathering the actual supplies. Is that a red, yellow, or green? Green. Mary says green. So, I just want to bring up that may be yellow because like we may or like we wouldn't be able to actually wash the car um if we didn't have our actual supplies. We can kind of leave it both. All right, we're gonna fill up the bucket with soap and water. Again, what is everyone thinking? Sherry, that's a good point. We are realizing that like everything can't be green, and like we are going to be covered, and we will be covering that in our next tool. So I appreciate you bringing that up. So filling the bucket with soap and water, let's just go ahead and call that a green. Thank you, Virginia. I appreciate you agreeing. So like we're going to actually pre-rinse the car. Is it necessary? Probably not, but like it's helpful. So we can maybe call that a red. What do you guys think? Okay, Virginia says yes. Sherry says red. Okay, good, good. Okay, we're gonna now wash our car. I don't wanna, yeah, I think, and that'll be a green. Thank you, Sherry. Then we're gonna rinse the car. We probably need like we will show that like that, but that like that is value. So I think that'll be a green as well. All right. So now we're gonna dry the car. Is that a value? Can like can you stop after washing and rinsing? Yeah. People are calling it yellow. Thank you all for sharing. I appreciate you all pl playing along. All right, now we have clean tires and wax the car. What do you think? Are those our values? Or are they required waste or are they non-required waste? We have some yellows, reds. For the sake of argument here, let's just go ahead and make those yellows. All right, we can wipe down the interior, empty trash, and vacuum. What are your thoughts? Yellow, red, or green? And if your car's like mine, you might need to empty out the trash. Hard to find a place to sit sometimes. Okay, I'm seeing green. So like let's put green on the wipe down the interior and empty trash. And let's go ahead and do the vacuum and the clean windows as yellow. All right. Thank you all for actually taking this time. It'll show why we're doing this in a minute or two. So now like you can see here, we have gone through the steps and have found that like most of our steps are green, there's some yellow, and there's one red. So like in now that we have gone through the car washing process and have identified valuable steps, let's take this one step further. So like I like I like we have this process of washing our car and we have determined that it's a good process and that the process is working. But now I just got off the phone and I just found that my resources and my time for actually washing my car has been slashed. They have been cut. So now I don't have the money or over the time to actually do a full car wash. So like now I have to look at my process, and like I will have to determine how how am I going to actually perform our core mission, which we actually determined our core mission in our first part of this presentation is to actually wash our car, and our actual customers are wanting us to actually have a clean car. But how are we going to actually perform our core mission of washing the car with a reduced time and also reduce money? And this will bring us to our final tool we will be talking about, which is the next slide, which is the pick two by two prioritization chart. So this is a great tool to actually help find the activities with the highest impact and the least amount of effort. This chart will also help you find what is not worth the effort, and that's why we have a kill box. So I want to explain this chart a little bit. So like on the left, we have the actual impact arrow. So it goes from a low impact to a high impact. And like as the arrow goes up, it shows increased increased revenue, cost savings, also also being more efficient. Then you have the actual effort arrow along the bottom, and as the arrow moves to the right, the time, the cost, the risk, and the complexity of the project increases. So like you would ideally want to have you would want to actually select the activities that you want to select the activities that will involve the actual least amount of effort and have the highest impact. And these are in the green box, which is the actually implement or the quick win box. The actual the actual yellow possible box indicates the actions where you can accomplish small quick wins, and they actually require little effort to actually implement, but they also won't have a big impact on your program. The actual yellow challenge box indicates actions that involves both a high effort but also have a big impact. So just since they actually require a lot of effort, you may want to be very selective on which of these activities you choose. And then finally, we have the kill box it'll take a high effort and will have little or no impact on your final project. So I want to go back to our process map, and let's talk about one of these steps that we have talked about. We have just found out our budget's been cut. We actually do not have as much time or money to actually wash our car. So we would probably want to do this pick 2 by 2 chart on every one of these steps involved inside of this process map. But like but for like the sake of time, I'm going to focus on the yellow dots. So, let's talk about drying the car. So drying the car is our step in our process. We go to the pick 2x2 chart again, please? So now, we want to look at this chart on drying your car. Now, is in this something that is going to bring value to into our core mission of washing our car? So we can take this to our 2x2 chart and see if like it if if the effort is worth the impact. So drying the car, is that going to be a low impact or a high impact? Can you put your answer in chat, please? Virginia says it's a high impact. Do people agree with her? Okay. So we have at least one another. Yes, it's a high impact. So is the actual effort low or high? So we have that drying is a high impact. Is the effort low or high? We have Ashley says it's a high effort. All right. So when then we would put drying the car as a challenge because it will be a big impact, but it also take a lot of effort. So a challenge, we would have to actually determine if drying the car is worth it inside of our process, because it is a challenge. It's going to take a lot of effort, but the actual impact will be high. All right, let's do another one. Let's go back. Let's go to cleaning the tires. Okay, if we go back to our chart, where would cleaning the tires fall on this chart in our overall process of cleaning the car? Our core mission is to clean this car. Will the process of cleaning the tires be implement, challenge, possible, or kill? What are your guys' thoughts? Mary says possible. Philip says possible. Ashley, everyone's saying possible. So that's a quick little win. Thank you all for doing it. So if we can go back to the process map. So we have dry the car and we have cleaning the tires. Those are both yellows. Now, the actual cleaning the car is a possible, to where it's going to be something that's going to take a lot of effort, but it also have a higher impact. Okay, let's look at waxing the car. Again, we have a budget cut, we have our time cut. Waxing the car, is it yellow? green, or red? Is it implement, challenge, possible, or kill? What are your thoughts? So it is either a challenge or a kill, depending on why the car is cleaned. If it's for a wedding, yes, wax it. You know, actual a lot of cars nowadays, they say not to actually wax it, depending on the clear coat. So we're gonna take Mary's advice. It is not for a wedding. So like we're going to kill this step. So if like you go back to the process map. So like inside of our process map, we would change that yellow dot to a red dot. We don't need to do it now, but so the actual moral of this is to actually look at every step inside of your process or project, and like actually determine that is based upon a cut in funding, a change in processes, to actually look at these steps and make a full process map. That way you and like your staff understands every step inside of your process or a new project. And like actually determine, is like in these steps necessary? Are we going to do stuff the actual same way we have before and just cut a like actual person, or are like we going to actually take are we going to take the steps necessary to actually help find efficiencies and to actually find ways of like of like actually of doing things different and possibly better, that will then, you know, if we are streamlining our process, if we're finding if we're finding efficiencies, this will help us down the road as well. Because what if we give it our funding brought back? We are now going to be able to save a lot more money and be able to do more in more things. Or if we have more budget cuts along the way, either from the state or from the federal side, we will already have a process in place to actually look at the actual full process. And it's not always just cutting travel expenses. You know, we want to look at the full picture. We want to dive down into it. We want to look at ways to actually make our program better and be able to save our staff. And if we are doing this full process, it's going to be much, much better in the long run. So can we go to the next? Well, before I go, well, no, let's just go to our next slide in next one again. So I want to do a actual quick review. Like we just covered 3 tools to to actually help identify your customer and the activities they value most from your program. Like we also performed a value analysis of a process map to to actually help streamline and eliminate waste in the process. And we also completed a our solution prioritization pick 2x2 chart. So are there any questions or comments you guys want to ask or bring up? You can raise your hand, and like we will take you off the mute, and like you can talk about or like you can ask a question, you can bring up a comment, you can talk to the group about like your actual concerns you actually added to the chat at the beginning of this webinar. You know, like everyone at the state are like in the same boat right now, and like having these having these webinars is a helpful tool to actually bring people together that are facing the same problems right now. So any questions, comments? Anybody want to ask a question of another state? Or does the state want to share anything they have done already to actually start streamlining and making cuts? So Sherry talked, they are constantly triaging priorities, and that changes hour by hour. It is very stressful. You know, one thing I would encourage you to do is to involve your actual management staff or supervisors, and actually helping making these decisions. It will not but only give them ownership, but like it will also help them understand the process. All right, I don't see any other questions or comments, so I'm going to turn this back over to Jason.
Thanks, Steve. If anyone does have any questions or comments, you can always reach back out to us. And, you know, maybe if you don't want to ask in the comment section, we can get some answers on any questions that you might have. But thanks so much for that presentation, Steve. As a reminder, you can head to AFDO's YouTube channel. We shared the link in the chat earlier, and we just shared it again to view any of the previous sessions from the series that we've done. We were recording today, so we will add that to YouTube in the coming days. Also, for everyone who found that the slide deck really helpful, we are going to make that available too. So just keep an eye on your email for the recording link and for that slide deck, because I know that that will be a really good resource for folks. And with that, thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you for taking part in the chat and talking about everything that you're dealing with, because it's something that everyone is dealing with. And we really appreciate you joining today. Thanks, everyone.